Welcome to ACC Student News.
The news students can use. I'm Callie.
And I'm Shuba. Here are this week's stories.
Iran banned all of their guard corps from using any form of communication device after the recent attacks of exploding walkie-talkies and pagers that killed several people. Iran and Hezbollah are expecting all shipments new devices, not just personal devices. They found that a lot of those devices were homemade and that they believe Israel sent most of the explosives. Israel also struck 800 Hezbollah targets in some of the largest attacks since October of last year. Some of them attacks included a school that killed 22 people.
71-year-old man that was a 71-year-old man that was abducted when he was 6 was finally reunited with his family. Luis Armando Albino was abducted while playing at an Oakland, California park. 7 decades later, he was reunited with his family, thanks to the help from an ancestry test, old photos, and newspaper clippings. In 1951, a woman lured him from the park, and she promised him that she would buy him candy. She then took the boy from California to the East Coast, where he ended up with a couple who raised him as if they were his own. His niece located him using an online DNA test she took just for the fun of it. It showed a 22% match with the man who eventually turned out to be her uncle. Albino's mother died in 2005, but never gave up hope that her son was alive.
Letcher County Sheriff that shot a Kentucky judge in his chambers was arraigned this week. Sean Steins was arraigned by way of a virtual hearing in the shooting death of District Judge Kevin Mullins. The sheriff pled not guilty. Steins did not comment on the charges during this hearing. And what was asked about finances after Steins confirmed he wanted a court-appointed attorney. No evidence was released by the prosecution, which leaves possible motive for the killing a mystery. Preliminary investigation indicates that Steins shot at the judge multiple times following an argument inside the courthouse. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear has sent a letter asking the sheriff to resign.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is drawing a red line for the U.S. and its allies by signaling that Moscow will consider responding with nuclear weapons if they allow Ukraine to strike deep inside of Russia with long-ranged Western missiles. In this doctrine he released, Putin extended a list of scenarios that could lead to Russia using nuclear weapons, he said in a response to a major cross-border conventional attack involving aircraft, missiles, and drones. He also said that rival nuclear power that supported a country attacking Russia would be considered a party that attack or party to that attack as well. Russia's current published nuclear doctrine was set out in 2020. A decree said Russia may use nuclear weapons in case of a nuclear attack by an enemy or a conventional attack that threatens existence of the state. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken called Putin's comments totally irresponsible.
A Missouri man was executed this week despite there being significant evidence that he was innocent. Marcellus Williams was executed by lethal injection earlier this week, but this attorney and the prosecutor both have said that he was most likely innocent due to his DNA not being on any of the evidence. He was convicted in 1998 for, at the time, the murder of Leisha Gailey. who was a police reporter in St. Louis. The prosecutor and his own attorney both asked the judge to spare his life and take him off death row. His family has said to them this was murder.
General manager from Thomas Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram in Highland helped raise money to help the North Lake Pop Warner Patriots. The Pop Warner team lost the majority of their equipment due to a fire that destroyed their equipment shed over the summer. General manager Frank Kowalski decided to run a promotion to help out. In this promotion, for every car that they sold, the dealership donated $100 to the team to help them recuperate their losses. The dealership sold 50 cars and raised $5,000. Kowalski said that he had a special connection with the team since all of his sons had gone through the program. They also said that the dealership is always looking for ways to support, improve, and provide for its community.
That's all for this half of ACC News.
Stay tuned for more news.
Oh crap, I think I've been hacked. Oh no, I've actually been hacked.
I got those losers' information.
Welcome back to ACC Student News. I'm Trey.
And I'm Jory, here with some more stories.
The leader of a nonprofit group representing the Haitian community invoked a private citizen's right to file charges against former President Trump and J.D. Vance over chaos and threats experienced by Springfield, Ohio, since Trump spread false claims about legal immigrants during a presidential debate. The charge is disrupting public services, making false alarms, telecommunications, harassment, aggravated, menacing, and non-complacent. The filing asks the Clark County Court to affirm that there is probable cause and issue arrest warrants against Trump and Vance. More than 30 bomb threats have been detected at state and local government buildings and schools, promoting closures, the assignment of additional law enforcement protection and security cameras. Some of the city Haitian residents have also said that they fear for their safety as public criticism grew. The mayor, Rob Rue, has also received death threats.
Family members of Northwest Indiana father who died after being restrained by police are demanding to see the body cam footage. 26-year-old Riker Earl, who was diagnosed with epilepsy, was having a medical emergency when, according to family, he was taken to the floor and handcuffed behind his back with his face in a pillow. He kept screaming that he couldn't breathe. He was taken to the hospital and testing confirmed that he had no brain activity and was eventually removed from life support. Sheriff Pat Williamson said that his department reviewed the body-worn cameras of the deputies and said there was false or misleading claims made by the family. According to the sheriff, the footage cannot be released until after the Indiana State Police complete an investigation.
Israel addressed a global call for a ceasefire with Hezbollah movement by defying its biggest ally, Washington, and pressing ahead with strikes that have killed hundreds in Lebanon and heightened fears of an all-out regional war. The United States, France, and several allies have called for immediate 21-day ceasefire across the Israel-Libyan borders, as well as a ceasefire in Gaza. Instead, Israel widened its airstrikes in Libya, killing at least 72 people. According to the ruptures, there were at least 223 wounded. Israel military has been practicing ground tactics as their military chief raises the idea that a ground assault is possible, which could spark a wider Middle East war. War leaders voiced concern that the conflict that is running parallel to the war in Gaza is rapidly escalating as the death toll rose in Libya and thousands fled their homes.
Federal prosecutors have charged 3 Iranian hackers for allegedly targeting members of former President Trump's presidential campaign as part of a wide-range malicious cyber scheme. The 3 defendants are all members of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. According to the prosecutors, they executed a hacking campaign that used spear phishing and social engineering techniques to target and compromise the accounts of current and former U.S. government officials, members of media, non-governmental organizations, and people associated with United States political campaigns. The charges mark an escalation in the government's efforts to combat Iran's alleged efforts to interfere with the 2024 presidential election.
The list of 2024's Blue Ribbon schools came out this week, and on the list, 16 Indiana schools made the cut. The National Blue Ribbon Schools program is a yearly recognition of the schools that show overall academic success or making strides in closing the academic gaps between different student groups. Among these schools, St. Thomas More Schools in Monster made the list, along with Porter Lake Elementary School and Indianapolis has 6 schools on the list. These schools are nominated by Indiana's Secretary of Education and must meet critiques like student performance, data, demographics, and student subgroups performance. Up to 200 schools and 40 are nominated each year.
The state of Maryland sues the owner of the ship that took out the Francis Scott Key Bridge last March. The lawsuit accuses Grace Private Limited for failing to take precautions necessary to prevent the collapse in the 56-page document filed in federal court. The state blames the collapse on the mismanagement, disinterest, and/or the incompetence of the companies. In a statement, the Attorney General's office said the tragic incident was preventable, citing there was a malfunction in the Dolly's power backup system, the crew's inability to restore power to the ship, and other faults. Spokesman for the company said that the lawsuit was anticipated and that the owner will not comment any further on the lawsuit, and they will settle the matter straight in court.
That's all the stories we have for this week.
Make sure to check out the rest of our videos on YouTube.
And Instagram at ACCtv Hammer.